first day, I was so anxious because I had like emailed my boss, like, yo, you should use he pronouns. And then I wasn't really sure how he had reacted to that. And I met with like the HR onboarding person, and she misgendered me the whole morning, and I was like dying inside. And then she brought me over to his desk and was like, hi, I brought SK, misgendered me a bunch. Oh God, he was just like the coolest cucumber, like did not like flinch or hesitate at all. Just like looked her dead in the eye, like, we're so glad to have him here. And my heart was just like, yes, okay, this is gonna be okay.
In Idaho, changing your name was barbaric. You had to publish in a newspaper your current name, the name you wanted to change it to, and then the reasoning why, and then you had to publish your address and your phone number. And then you had to go to court, open court, where everyone knew the date because that was part of the publishing. You know, that was 1998. At that time, when I applied for the Portland Police Bureau, even back then, on the front end, I had told them the situation, I had told them what was going on, and they were like, okay, that's not a problem here. When I came here, even though I'd had surgery and my Idaho driver's license still had an M on it, but when I was getting my Oregon license, when they handed it back to me, it had an F on it. I didn't even do anything. I thought, well, that was, wow, okay.
The city of Portland is like a very special place, and then even within that, I feel like BES is a very special place. Bureau of Environmental Services is made up of a lot of science folks who understand that, you know, there's diversity in the community of life, and being a person of color and being trans and being from out of town, people wanted to make sure that I felt good and safe and happy and included. Which it worked, because that's totally how I feel.
I like working for the city of Portland. I like being a public servant. I'm the first and only Black horticulturist on staff at the city of Portland, and the first and only Black botanic specialist. And so because of that, I get drawn into a lot of the equity and inclusion work that is happening throughout the Parks and Recreation Bureau and citywide. A lot of the work I do is around like restoration, environmental education. A lot of that work is very like ceremonial and spiritual. And the reality is, you know, here we are on Indigenous land, and many of the Indigenous communities throughout the world really identify that there are more than two genders. And a lot of the gender nonconforming folks and the two-spirit individuals have been the center of ceremony. And so for me to be in a workplace like that where there is no representation there and everything is very white, although I'm on like a non-binary spectrum, I don't feel like it is the best place for me to speak on like trans visibility. But then I'm also realizing, dang, like there's no representation in the Parks Bureau where I come from. And so some of the proximity to the things that I know from my community, I feel like I wanted to bring to the front of the table. What I see my community making with such limited resources and being such vulnerable people, we make magic happen with nothing.
It does still feel like this kind of secret. Even still today coming here, I felt like I was revealing a secret. And I want it to be more like every piece is equally important to everyone's identity. Like, yeah, I used to play rugby, and people used to think that I was female. Like, they're like equally the same kind of part of my experience.
I think the first thing I would say to the trans youth of today is thank you. Thank you for continuing to move this whole thing forward.